What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Part-Time Watchers podcast with Keith and Lorcan, where we talk about everything in the world of pop culture, entertainment, movies, comic books, video games, TV shows, you name it. And you know what? We might just talk about it part-time. Lorcan, are you there? Have you passed away to boredom from the intro already?
I've passed away from coronavirus because it is
You can't
back.
joke
It is
about
back
that.
with a bang. It is back with a bang, and we predicted it. I told you we predicted it. People didn't wash their hands. Telling you.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I went to the cinema this weekend.
Did you?
I did.
Did you actually to see Tenet?
No, not to see Tenet. I've Tenet tickets booked for next week. I told you I'm going next week. I don't care, regardless. I said this last weekend. I'm gonna be sitting in that cinema, even if they have the doors locked and aren't letting anyone in. I'm gonna be sitting in that chair, waiting for them to start the movie.
I was so close to buying Tenet tickets, and then when the news hit that we will potentially, or maybe go back into another lockdown, I said I will save my money and not book those tickets because I don't think we're going to get to see Tenet next week because I think the cinemas will be closed next week.
I'm still calling it. It's going to happen. They're not going to go into a full lockdown. Anyway, we're not getting into lockdown talk. But I did go to the cinema this weekend. I went to the Stella to see Inception for the 10-year anniversary.
Nice.
It was just majestic.
And the Stella, a nice fancy boy cinema that has fancy distancing already baked in.
Exactly. Yes, it's the perfect cinema for social distancing. Anyone that's Dublin based will probably know the Stella. Yes, exactly. And drinking. It's a great little like old timey classic cinema with like leather chairs and your own little table and your own little area. It's great. And the way to have it now is basically when you book a couple of seats, they basically just don't have anyone sitting in the surrounding seats to you. So you're socially distanced and everything, and you can just like lie back on a couch and watch Inception. It's like
nice.
Yes, please.
Was there many even there? Like, because the Stella's not a massive capacity cinema, and if they're going to book all around you, then.
Yeah, it was as busy as it could have been, essentially.
Okay.
Like everybody, you had to wear masks all the way in, and then once you got in there and you sat down, then you could take your mask off and whatever. And they didn't have hot food there, which they usually do in that cinema. I'm okay with it in the Stella because the Stella is a lovely cinema. Yeah. But like any other place, I don't know how they do it in the US, where people have these big, smelly hot dogs and burgers and chips and everything in the cinema.
The gross nacho cheese. And the gross jalapenos, like it's all gross.
Get hot food out of a cinema, in my opinion.
Yeah,
hot food is for sweets, popcorn, and cold beverages. That's about it.
They're fine in some cinemas in America, I think, as well. Or if it's a good, cinema like the Stella, or there's another one as well. I think in like Austin, Texas, or something like that, where they set the whole place up that it's supposed to be part of the experience to have dinner and pizza and stuff there, and it's nice. that would work. But like if you're going to like a normal cinema and someone's ordering those gross tacos with that gross cheese that stinks up the room, just leave. Just get out and leave.
No interest in it.
Nah.
I tell you, if someone comes to my showing of Tenet next week, I'll be very upset with your smelly nachos.
Yeah, someone will come to the door to kick you out. That's what'll happen. It is not going to happen.
It's happening.
I'm convinced that it's not going to happen.
They also had before Inception, they had like a 10-minute Tenet, not a tip for the movie.
Minute.
No, that was terrible.
That was
Tenet. It was like a production kind of thing where they showed a bit of behind the scenes and how they were putting it together and everything. And classic Christopher Nolan, like he's just insane in terms of like how specific he wants all his shots to be. And like I think the guys that were on set were saying that they've shot nearly all of it like on set in the actual place that it's meant to be. And like no green screens. I think one of the actors was like, I haven't seen a green screen at all, considering how much like over the top action there is in it.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
That's outrageous. That's a blatant lie, surely. Like there's green screen.
Well, he hasn't seen one. They sure. Yeah, like there will be like VFX in it, obviously.
Yeah,
but they're trying to get it. Anything that they can get in picture, he wants to get in picture.
Fair play. That's Nolan for you. Crazy boy Nolan.
Yeah, so can't wait till next week, and I'm sitting in the theater watching it because it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. You might be sitting at home watching a bad cam version on your phone.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely not doing that.
No, either am I. Could you imagine ruining the experience by watching like a cam version on your phone?
Plus, you know what this gives us the opportunity for next week? We could be one of the first. Well, shut up. We're going to see it, all right? we could be one of very few places that can review it before the US have even seen it.
That is true.
We could get out there in front of all the big YouTubers and podcasters and reviewers with our review of Tenet. Imagine that.
I'm sure all those are going to get screeners to their house because they know it's going to get torrented. So I feel like big.
Would you want to though? Would you even if I was US based and someone sent me a screener for Tenet, I wouldn't watch it.
No,
I wouldn't.
You kind of need to see, like, it's a Nolan film. Like watching it at home, it's going to be like, oh, it's not that good. And it was like, you kind of need to be in the cinema. You kind of need to be in an IMAX screen to actually even get it.
Anyway, welcome to the show, everyone. There's a lot of waffle to get started. If you're watching on YouTube, please give the video a like and subscribe and all that good stuff. That really helps out the channel. And yeah, all that good stuff. We have plenty of news to get into for the week. And actually, Lorcan, it's time for something new. Something that we started doing, that we're going to do. And maybe I'll put music to it, maybe I won't, I don't know. It's the rundown.
Rundown. That type of music.
Whatever music I was gonna put is not as good as that.
No,
you gotta keep doing that. I'm gonna cut that part of you.
What? Just loop it over the back of it?
Yeah, just loop it over the back of what I'm saying now.
Rundown.
Anyway, the rundown. Cassian Andor has a new cast member. That show is actually officially happening by the sounds of things, because we haven't heard anything about it since it was officially announced. But the Star Wars series Cassian Andor is happening. Avatar: The Last Airbender have lost the two creators of the original animated or the anime, which Lorcan, I'm guessing you're very excited upset about.
Don't even start.
We'll get to that in a second. Welcome to the Blumhouse. Blumhouse have 4 original horror movies that are coming to Amazon this October for Halloween. Halloween. And DC FanDome is happening next weekend. So we are going to be going through our predictions for what we think is going to be announced and what is going to be announced. Yeah, what was the word I was looking for? I was looking for another word. I can't remember what it was. I just lost it on the moment. Revealed. There's the word. It wasn't that word, but that works. That definitely works. Anyway, that's the rundown. Check out the time codes below. Check it out on YouTube. All that fun stuff. Let's get into the show. Lorcan, the CW shows or the CW DC series.
The golden child of all TV, the CW DC universe.
Exactly, the best thing in the DC universe currently, the CW series. These have basically. I was actually commenting with someone that commented on one of our posts about the posters that come out. So CW have released loads of posters for their new shows coming out, and just looking at them, like, they're cool comic book inspired things. But the more I think about those shows, the more I'm like, it's modern day soap opera. Yeah. Like, that's what it is. It's a DC soap opera. Like, they're not even the guy I was talking to was trying to say that, like, they're like teen dramas, and they definitely are teen dramas, but they're almost more like a soap opera. Like, it's just ridiculous relationships between characters that are more important. And, like, obviously character and relationship is a huge part of story, but in these shows it's just like, ugh. But you've just taken it way too far.
To quote a famous meme that's going around at the minute as well, it always has been. It's been that way the whole time. So, like, go all the way back to, like, Smallville, back when we got into this. It was just team drama. It's just melodrama mixed in with, like, a storyline. Arrow was very much that when it came back with the whole, Felicity and will they, won't they with Oliver Queen, and who's in the love triangle this week, who's Oliver Queen's sister in a love triangle with, and it's just soap operas, but it had that undercurrent of, like, comic book stuff that we were just starved of at the time, that it just done the job. But now when we have, like, an abundance of really good quality shows and, upcoming, like, amazing Marvel shows that are going to come out, are going to be like films, it's so strange to see these nowadays. And it's like the position that they once had, like, I'd give them a pass for a lot of their crappy things, because maybe at the end of one episode it did hint to the fact that Darkseid is in this universe or something along those lines, and that'd do me fine for like 2 months. But it's kind of always been that way. And, like, I remember, because I saw that comment as well, and people are talking about Stargirl and how it's still good, and how Legends of Tomorrow was actually good, and so is Black Lightning. But, like, I can't give the time to do it, because it's not as if they're short series. Like, it's a 25 whatever or 22 or 23 season arc where, like, whatever 30 minutes of the 40-minute episode is just someone crying about someone broke up with them or something like that. I can't handle it anymore. I just can't do it. And I'm sure they're fine. Like, I'm sure they're fine in their own right. But, like, I've never been into soap operas. But, like, I can't do it.
Yeah. No, I'm the exact same. Like these posters come out, and a lot of people are excited about them. So they're just very comic book inspired posters. And to be fair, like not to be fair, I'm not going to watch any of these shows
No,
because I totally have given up on them.
I wouldn't
I,
even
I
watch a
will argue that
crossover.
I don't think Arrow started off as bad as it got to. Like the
Oh
first one
no,
or
no,
two
it
seasons of Arrow.
definitely got worse, but like
Yeah,
it was always still
yeah,
like they had to fill the rest of the airtime with something else.
yeah.
so it definitely got a bit worse over time.
Um, yeah, but basically they released all the posters. Most of the shows are going to be coming back not until like probably spring 2021 now with all the pushbacks. The Batwoman series didn't have the new actress in the suit because I'm assuming they probably haven't even got her in the suit yet, or done any kind of photo.
I'm surprised they bothered doing that cover as well, or like why didn't they pick a support character rather than just having the Bat logo?
Yeah, the
It
Bat
just
symbol.
seemed a bit weak.
But yeah, like it's I mean, I guess it's kind of mad looking at now how many of those series are still going on now, and like the still of Lois and Clark is coming now, and like there's just so much going on there that I feel like it's almost like it's kind of like what comic books got to at a certain point where it's like, how do you even get in? Like, where do you even start? Like, if you hadn't watched any of these series now, and someone was like, "Oh, hey, you should watch this new Superman series," it's like, okay, but like, which Superman is this, and who's the Supergirl, and then what's this other show, and there's a
And
Batwoman,
is this canon, or like does,
yeah,
this,
exactly,
does this go across? Is this like in a separate Earth inside the same canon?
Yeah, it's just so, even for us that are like, we watched it for years, I'm still like, I have no idea what's going on in that universe, so I couldn't even attempt to get back into it. I will probably watch an episode or two of the Lois and Clark series just because or the Superman and Lois series, just because I love Superman, and I actually did enjoy that version of Superman and the original crossover. So we'll check it out. But yeah,
maybe the posters
definitely
look
hasn't
pretty
got me back
awesome
on
though.
board.
Like the posters look pretty awesome. So fair play to
they're pretty
them.
good. Yeah. We are talking about the Cassian Andor series, so the Star Wars series that has been announced about a year and a half ago. And we've heard basically nothing about it since. But it has had some new casting, which is good because that means it's actually going into some form of development. Adria Arjona, I think that's how you pronounce it. She's been in Narcos, True Detective, Six Underground, which first two I was like, oh, she was great in both of those. Six Underground, haven't seen the movie, but heard nothing but atrocious things about it.
Also in Pacific Rim as well.
Oh, the original or the sequel?
Uprising, the sequel, the bad one.
Yeah, I never watched it.
You never watched it?
No,
it was bad. I don't know why I'm trying to talk it up. It was
bad. I heard it was pretty bad. And she's also going to be in the upcoming Morbius, which
that'll be great.
We haven't been too excited about. But she has been cast in the Cassian Andor series, but we haven't found out anything about her role or anything. It's the Hollywood Reporter is reporting on it, so it hasn't been confirmed written by Disney yet. But if the Hollywood Reporter are reporting that it's happened, then chances are it has probably happened. But I'd imagine she's probably going to be maybe. I'm assuming she's not going to be one of the Empire. She seems like someone that would play a character that would be involved in the Rebels with someone like Cassian Andor.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that's the case. I mean, I'm hoping that is, because based on the roles she's played before, she's been great in those roles, and like it'd be cool to see her kind of like alongside Cassian Andor, and K2SO working for the rebellion.
She's she's definitely like she's character as an actress as well. Like I recently saw her in Good Omens, and she plays like a quirky character in that, I suppose, as well. So like she has range to do a couple of different things, and she potentially would be wasted on like the Empire side. I think she'd be better if she was on like the early rebellion side. But like I suppose just with a lot of Cassian Andor stuff, I'm just not like, while it's a good casting, I'm just not excited, and I think I need to see more of what. Like I don't even know what this is. Like I don't know what this is gonna do, what storyline's gonna come up. Like why is this exciting in comparison to like, we'll say like an Obi-Wan show or something along those lines? Like there just needs to be a bit more. But like it's certainly exciting that they got in good talent, and like anyone who's going to be in the potential upcoming Oscar-winning film Morbius, like that's a good get. Before her career really takes off. In that kind of probably really like well done support role next to Jared Leto, Oscar winner Jared Leto, who literally has won an Oscar.
Yeah, back when he wasn't he was an absolute lunatic.
He was always an absolute lunatic, but back when he hit it really well.
Yeah, exactly. Before he started sending used condoms and dead rats to
people. he was just in character, he's just a method actor.
Of course,
so, are you still excited about Cassian Andor?
I am, because I loved Rogue One. Like I think Rogue One is
Mm.
genuinely my favorite Star Wars film since the Disney, like in the Disney era Star Wars.
That's crazy.
Um,
Like
it's such
it's
an it
good, but it's the same as like it's the same as Solo in my eyes. It's
oh,
very similar to Solo.
absolutely nothing like
No,
Solo.
it's very similar.
Solo just poops all over like the original character, and it's just like
Ugh.
it's a terrible film.
As a
Whereas Rogue
film, I
One,
think Rogue One's quite similar. I don't think Solo is a bad film, but I don't think Rogue One's a great film either. So
you need to rewatch it again. Rogue One has easily the best space battle of any of the
yes,
Star Wars
it
movies.
does. It definitely does. But there's a whole like Cassian Andor is one of the parts I don't like as well in Rogue One. I don't think a lot of the characters are that great, really. Um,
Again, I disagree. Like, I love the fact that Cassian Andor is that kind of character where it
mm,
shows the other side of the rebellion, where it's like
yeah,
they're not all the good heroes that are just trying to save the day. It's
you just
like,
got to shoot a guy when his leg doesn't work.
yeah, exactly. They're bad guys. Not they're
Yeah,
bad guys, but they've got like bad folks working for them too, because they're all
yeah.
trying to take down
I don't
even
mind
worse
that.
folks.
Yeah, I don't mind that concept, but like, I suppose I don't know. I'm just not that intrigued by like, like yeah, there's parts of the rebellion that aren't that great, and I'm like, like I'd rather see that. Oh, what's the character who's played by Forrest Whitaker? I'd nearly rather see his arc because he's
Oh,
an absolute lunatic.
he was the worst part of Rogue One. We
He
have
was
very
he
different
was a
appearances
bad
these
part of
movies.
Rogue One, but like I
He was
like his character. I
Saw
suppose
Gerrera.
Saw
Yeah,
Gerrera, because I just think he's a lunatic, and I suppose if you're going to show a different side to the rebellion, maybe as well go with someone who's just a full-on terrorist and kind of follow that arc. And I think I'd find that a little bit more interesting. Like maybe he links in with Saw Gerrera because Saw is aware of the rebellion, and he was once part of the rebellion. So maybe,
yeah.
yeah,
Maybe. So you'd prefer to watch a show about terrorists than about heroes. Says an awful lot about you, Lorcan.
maybe.
An awful lot about you. Let's talk about something else that I
Oh,
know you are very excited about. So Avatar: The Last Airbender
yeah.
has obviously been in development.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a fantastic anime that everybody is absolutely in love
Mm-hmm.
with. But they have had a live action series in development at Netflix
Mm-hmm.
for about a year and a half now. It was announced,
Yeah.
and the original creators of the actual anime series were on board to showrun and produce this series with Netflix, and they were all
Mm.
happy because they're all going to work together and let them do their thing. Apparently,
Yeah.
but now the two creators, Michael Dante DiMartino
It's just Michael and
and
Brian. Just
Brian, Michael and
yeah,
Brian, yeah,
Michael and Brian.
Mike and Brian, they have left the series because of quote unquote creative differences,
Mm.
which is all as basically means that both sides had different ideas and could not come to an agreement, so
Yeah.
one of them had to drop out. Before I go into their quote and everything, I'm sure you're chuffed because you were so excited for this series, and I know the thing that you were least looking forward to was having the original creators involved with it.
Oh my god, like okay, so yeah, like literally last week when we recorded this podcast, I put it down as my most up like the biggest upcoming show for me, like the one I was most excited for in like all their kind of like upcoming shows against things like, The Last of Us and Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, purely because of the fact that Netflix were treating this well. They were bringing the creators in, Michael and Brian. It seemed like they were listening to them. Everything about it was great, and the buzz for like Avatar was high. Literally the next day, I saw an article that said
Yeah,
they're leaving the project, and I said, surely not. Like, surely it's probably like they're taking a step down, or Netflix are moving them on to another project because they've established all of this or whatever. No, it turns out they walked out of the project, and I was reading a lot of their communications back and forth. Like they very much hit a rock there as well, where their creative direction wasn't taken seriously. The reason they went onto the project in the first place was because they were told they were going to be basically like working towards a shared vision as well, and they've kind of openly said that they had they were flexible, and they knew they probably would have to change a few things for TV, and they were more than happy to do it if it made sense in the world. But it seems like, to be honest with you, a lot of it is coming down because we're in the process of casting at the minute, and it seems like a big thing for them and a big thing for them the time M. Night Shyamalan was doing the film and caused them to have a lack of input as well, was they wanted to cast the show as Asian, because a lot of it is Asian orientated, and a lot of the tribes and their like the water tribe and the and the air nomads and everything, they're all based off different kind of Asian ethnicities as well, and they wanted to cast inside of those to be true to the show, but it seems that Netflix want to keep it a little bit more Americanized for that audience and wanted to cast, you know, all white actors again. And I think that was one of the issues they had. And then potentially there's a couple of other issues to do with the story arc and how they wanted to age the characters up again because they feel like child actors wouldn't be able to hold it. So like there was like basically they were changing a whole heap about just the core parts of the actual show, and the guys rightly walked off it, which is really upsetting because I had my hopes up for this show, and it feels like we're not going to get a good adaptation of this ever for live action, because if you do this the second time round, which Netflix are definitely going to keep on going with this, and if it's not good, it's going to be very hard to convince anyone to do a third live action, even though it's, you know, the thing that people just need to do is listen to the creators and just do their vision and it'll work, because, you know, it's one of the most beloved shows of all time. And you know, if they have a vision of how it can live in live action, just do that. Just do their version and it'll work. But
yeah,
it's so frustrating.
Where are you getting that story from? I haven't heard anything about them, like the casting or anything like that about it, because
it's from, so again, they have their own statements out there that don't touch it, but there's been kind of leaks from production, because obviously they hired in their own team as well, and apparently their own team they're backing the guys because Netflix have come out and, you know, they're holding true to their line as well. But apparently the guys won't come out and say the real reasons behind things, because again, they still have an ongoing relationship with Netflix and they want to create more properties with them. So apparently a lot of internal stuff is coming out. Again, I should say a lot of this isn't verified or anything along those lines, but apparently that's what the main issue is at the moment.
Yeah.
And plus they're at the casting stage as well at the minute, so it kind of makes sense that if the rocks are hitting here, that's probably the issue at hand. But again, this is all speculation.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just because I haven't read it, and I'm kind of given a slight benefit of the doubt, but like it seems ridiculous that Netflix would want to cast this with like white people.
Yeah,
because,
no,
like,
I completely agree. Like, especially Netflix's stance recently with like going the Asian direction as well.
Like they know
and
the backlash that they get if they turn around and like whitewash this story, or like cast them all as like white American people that clearly have no like Asian ethnicity or like background or history or anything, because like that's exactly what happened the first time around, and it totally sucked. Like when this happened, like my first thought was like it sucks that they're not on it, like absolutely. But at the same time, like it depends on what the issues was. Like that's what we kind of need to find out more about, and I'm almost curious to see what, like, we'll say when cast starts being announced or when we find out more about what the story is. I'm curious to see, like, is it a case of just that like these guys had a vision and they just couldn't move from it in the sense of like what they wanted to be?
Totally, that's the first thing I thought of before I started hearing potential other rumors as well. And obviously if you're kind of a fan of the show, like I'm subscribed to, you know, a couple of different Reddit channels as well that are in this, and a lot of people will back the creators over the name that face this corporation as well. But like there's definitely probably an air to it as well, where the guys didn't want to budge from their own vision of things, and it just probably wasn't plausible or even the correct move to go down that direction. And this could turn it, like, the best case scenario for me really is this turns out great and the guys go back to doing a different version of the animated series as well, or continuing on that message, while someone else is able to helm their creative vision in a way that's like great. So like a proper like Dave Filoni situation as well, where someone is just as good as the source material as someone like Lucas used to be, but he has like this fresh take on it. So like I'd rather, like, that's best case scenario, and I really hope that's the direction it goes. But it's just kind of upsetting, because I still would have preferred if the guys had to be on it. And like, listen, a rosy production would have been great, but like, you know, things don't always go that way.
That's the only thing, like, just because they've only ever done animated, like I'd be curious to see if it was a case of like certain people on Netflix maybe are like, this is just not going to work live action like the way that you want it to, and maybe if that's what the issue was. And like, because it's kind of hard at the minute to almost like not back Netflix with live action TV stuff, because like some of the best TV we've gotten in the last decade, in particular, even like comic book adaptations or like novel adaptations or whatever for series, like they've continuously been doing pretty well, and a lot of the time they have kept the creators on to work along with them. Like when they do comic book adaptations or whatever, like they bought Millar World, and he's like literally involved in every single project they're doing. So it just seems weird that they would end up having an issue with creators, considering how openly they have been with creators doing their own thing. In
Exactly,
particular, the
and
fact that
like I
they've
really
done,
hope it does come out that that's the case as well. And like at the end of the day, like even if the casting does come back and it's not strictly Asian cast or anything along those lines, I still don't think that's the end of the world either. Like I think that's just a missed opportunity and something that
yeah,
they probably should have looked at as well. But and again, even if that is the case and that was the big reason, I don't feel like that's a big enough reason for the guys to walk away either. So like I like until we start to know more of exactly what happened, I don't think like there's no point in taking a side almost on it. But you're
yeah,
totally right. I think Netflix, they've hit it out of the park. But I suppose my concern would be like if Netflix are looking to like, something like Stranger Things is winding down, they're like, what young adult things do we have and how can we make that young adult thing appeal to a similar demographic? And they kind of just take a bit of liberties with it as well. But again, I don't see them going that direction. That's again pure speculation as well. Like
yeah,
they're a smart company, and I think they'll handle this well. And I think, I think they have handled it well so far with their press statements too. So,
yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what comes out in the next couple of weeks and months when Cassian starts coming in.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, who they get like to be the new showrunner.
That's true.
Like, because whoever they get on, like, are they just going to go with the vision they had, or is someone going to come on and be like, "Oh no, I want to do it this way," or like,
Well, see, that's the case as well. Like,
yeah,
do you rip it up and then production gets pushed back
and
another
start again?
2 years or something along those lines, and that would be devastating also.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No matter what way you look at it, it's not really a good outcome.
Never good. It's never good.
Hopefully, they can get it back on track because, yeah, even though I didn't have it in my top 3, like, it was definitely a series that I like really was looking forward to. And I always hate when like I know when they announce something, but I always hate when they show something visual, even though it was one picture
Yeah.
from a distance. I hate when you see something because that just makes it feel like it's real. And then
Are you
like 2
talking
years
about
later, you find out that
the
they're
one from a distance where it shows the avatar with Appa and Appa's
yeah,
face?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
like
such a
it's one
great
photo.
visual. It's such a good way to
Yeah.
get people excited by the show. Yeah, so I nearly rather we didn't have that because you can't picture what it could be. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. Because now I've like since having that picture, it was like, oh, it's happening. Like I know what's happening.
yeah.
But now it's not happening. Anyway, let's move on to some scary news.
Oh no, too spooky.
You don't like? Oh no, too
spooky for me.
Too spooky for Lorcan. We got 4 spookies
for
Lorcan. 4 fast, 4 spookiest.
Did you do a Halloween Fast and Furious and call it 4 Fast, 4 Spooky? That would be fucking fantastic. Oh my god! Or no, just continue the number. So they'll be coming up on what 9. So if they just say 9 fast, 9 spookiest, that would be that. Oh my god! I'd die in the spot and be happy. Oh, they could do it. Like it's so ridiculous. 9 fast, 9 spookiest. And people are like, what is this?
But people would still go and watch it because it's a Fast and Furious movie.
It's not even the like full team cast. It's body doubles, but they're all wearing masks. Well, the whole way through the film, so they don't even have to pay the full cast. Oh,
yeah, you just pay them for one scene where they have the masks off. Every other scene,
every other scene, and they're very bad body doubles. Like the guy who plays The Rock is obviously like 4 feet too small, and the guy who plays Vin Diesel is like level-heighted because like it's in their contract that they have to be the same height, even though they're not the same height.
But the guy playing The Rock has like those stick-on tattoos on his shoulder and his arm.
And plus, both The Rock and Vin Diesel want to be Freddy Krueger, so they're both wearing the same mask. I love it. Ludacris is wearing a ludicrous mask.
Yeah, he's just himself, because he's too cool. Oh god, that'd be a class movie. Universal, I hope you're listening.
Don't steal that idea.
Yeah. Anyway, what we were going to say when you're getting onto the actual 4 horror movies.
Yeah.
So Amazon have 4 new movies coming out with Blumhouse Pictures. So Blumhouse are basically the Disney of horror movies. They've just created some of the best horror franchises over the last like 10 years. So they have a new kind of 8 film series coming out called Welcome to the Blumhouse. And basically they're releasing 4 movies this October for I was going to say for Christmas, for Halloween, 4 horror movies, original horror movies this year. And then they're releasing 4 more at some point next year. But it's cool. They release a really cool image of it where it's basically like a 4-tiered or a 4-floored house, and each one of the floors has like a visual for each one of the 4 movies.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome announcement. Like for the picture and everything like that, it's a great way of doing it. I'm sure you loved it because I know you love slates, and this is a creative way of showing a slate basically as well, and it's a house, so like it's pretty cool. Like so, yeah, like you know, even I got excited by this, but it's kind of like excited at the notion that these things are coming in the direction they went. I'm not going to watch any of these, I don't think, but like I love what they've done.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like Blumhouse, while releasing some amazing horror movies and like really like horror / thriller type movies, they've also just released a lot of like very low budget horror movies that just kind of get forgotten about. So there's a strong chance that these will all be just forgettable movies. But at the same time, like even if 1 out of the 8 is great, like that's
well, that's their strategy. It's basically all low budget, and one of them will probably be another big thing that'll come out. But like plus this is a really smart idea, because like there's not a lot of people out there who are doing good horror, and to be honest with you, horror is probably that new vehicle that you get new ideas and new independent thinking, because all the big movies that come out these days tend to be blockbusters, and then even the other ones there's few and far between, with like, you know, a Christopher Nolan movie might come out as well, and then anything after that would be a hit and miss drama, whereas it seems like all the excitement tends to come from horror these days, unfortunately for me. But like it's just good, and it's good to hear that, you know, at least we have, you know, 8 upcoming films that we can get excited about.
Yeah, and it's a cool little partnership with Amazon as well. Like that's good. Like it's good for them that they have this kind of coming to get people on board with. But the 4 movies that are releasing this October that we have, the first one is called The Lie. And the plot is, when their teenage daughter confesses to impulsively killing her best friend, 2 desperate parents attempt to cover up the horrific crime, leading them into a complicated web of lies and deception. So that sounds like it's more along the kind of horror thriller type vibe, like keep your family safe when they've done something terrible, which kind of sounds interesting and could lead to a cool movie. The second one is called Black Box. And it's after losing his wife and his memory in a car accident, a single father undergoes an agonizing experimental treatment that causes him to question who he really is. That sounds like a movie that if it's done well, would be something that I really like.
Yeah,
because I love movies where you kind of like, you're almost trying to figure it out while you're watching. Is it
happening? Is it not happening? Is it a ghost, or is it just his mind?
Yeah, is it real, or is he just a lunatic?
Yeah.
I hope the fact that they're telling us this doesn't mean that it is real. Or I hope they don't give it away. They're not giving it away in the plot. The third one is called Nocturne, which is inside the halls of an elite arts academy. A timid music student begins to outshine her more accomplished and outgoing twin sister when she discovers a mysterious notebook belonging to a recently deceased classmate.
This sounds like a group of Goosebumps. You know what I mean?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they're all Goosebumps stories, but for adults. That's kind of what this is, actually. Goosebumps for adults.
Yeah, it kind of, what they, even just like reading all of them, they all sound like it's almost, because what's becoming huge in terms of like horror TV series is like anthology shows. Like we have The Twilight Zone is massive.
Yeah.
Like Black Mirror obviously is kind of like a version of like horror / dystopian future type sci-fi stuff. There's a couple of other ones, like there's another series over on Shudder, which is a horror streaming platform. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's basically anthology horror where each episode is just a different horror story.
Cool.
So they're really kind of cool. So it's cool that they're almost doing like a horror anthology movie series.
Yeah.
That are all kind of linked together as well. The final one then is called Evil Eyes, and it is actually based off an award-winning Audible series, which is kind of cool. Audibles and like book stories, or like Audible and podcast stories, should I say, are being picked up an awful lot for like TV and movies in the last while. It was kind of interesting to see.
And documentaries as well. Like I think it was HBO done the documentary on Serial, kind of like a catch up to where we currently are at the minute, and it was really interesting. So that whole medium is ripe for a bit of taking.
Yeah.
a little bit of taking.
So Evil Eyes, the last one. A seemingly perfect romance turns into a nightmare when a mother becomes convinced her daughter's new boyfriend has a dark connection to her own past.
Oh.
Dump, dump, dump.
Dark son. He's probably the son of the person she murdered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's probably it. Yeah, probably. She definitely did. But yeah, 4 interesting plots, interesting stories. All have potential, but again, could all be very forgettable.
Yeah.
Could also stand out. Like, I'm curious to see how it turns out. But what they seem to be doing is kind of taking in like indie filmmakers and kind of pairing them up with like some young talent, like acting talent and stuff coming through, but also like some, like a Patrick Wilson or something, like they've done with a lot of their Blumhouse movies, where they get like 1 or 2 established actors to be the face, and then like taking like indie directors and young directors and
like bringing in a Kevin Bacon and putting him in that house that changes, or the ghost is in the house that changes.
Exactly.
Or...
Yeah.
Did you book the house in the house that changes?
I didn't watch.
Have you gotten around to watching it?
No.
It was like, all I can think now is Kevin Bacon and the house that changes. Do you know what? And the funny thing is, I told you I wasn't going to watch it, and I specifically told you I'll probably find a video online that details what happens because I'm curious. And I
Yeah.
found a video online that details what happens, and it is exactly like I said it was going to. It is. I goes. He'll go into the house. The house will change, but it's a house that already existed beforehand, and it's always been there, and it lures in bad people and like brings them to hell or some shit like that. So basically, that's what it is. So like, it's a ghost house.
Yeah.
Which is crap because I thought it was a really smart idea for like there could be like a dimensional thing happening or something along those lines, but no, it's just
Ghost house.
It's a ghost house, a spooky ghost house because he murdered his spooky wife.
Oh, did he murder his wife?
Yeah, because like, well, she was in the bath. Like, it's the person is like, it's basically given away in the trailer. It's like, oh no, my past is coming back to haunt me. I'm Kevin Bacon. I'm stuck in a house.
Kevin Bacon.
But I think, oh yeah, there was something about like, oh yeah, his ex-girlfriend is like, or the girlfriend that he brings on the trip is also cheating on him or something, and that's like a story in the background or something.
Oh, fun times.
I don't know. Yeah, weird.
Okay. Well, anyway, guess we're not watching that.
No. Are you sure you don't want to watch Kevin Bacon on the house, the spooky house that changes?
You know, I did want. That's such a great title, though.
Really
that would be such a great title for a movie. The spooky house that changes. I'd totally watch that.
Yeah,
I'd
me
be way
too.
more interested in that than whatever the hell it was called. Anyway, let's move on to our main topic of the day. So we are talking about DC FanDome. So it is FanDome. DC FanDome.
It's in a dome.
It is in a dome, and it's full of not fans.
No.
Stupid name. Next week, on Saturday, the 22nd, they are going to be having DC FanDome, which is basically a 24-hour online event where they're going to have Comic-Con style panels for all of the DC properties that are upcoming with some announcements and whatnot. So we've got the schedule. So what we're going to do in advance of next week is we are going to go through some of the main things that they're going to be covering, some of the main panels and whatnot, and we are going to try and make any predictions for what we think will actually come out, and then we'll see next week how close we actually were to what is going to be announced at these shows or at these panels. So let's start with, they have basically 6 versions of it, so when you can log into it, it's free or whatever when you want to watch it, but they have basically 6, I guess, domes. So they have like the Hall of Heroes, domes, which is the main thing. Huh?
Oh yeah, I suppose it would be 6 domes. Well, like, no, yeah, 6 streams. It just seems weird. Like, I pictured like a visual of 6 domes. I don't know why. The whole thing just made me upset, and I'm just like, what?
I don't like this. Yeah. This doesn't look well in my mind.
Yeah, it's a spooky visual. 6 domes spook me.
Everything's too spooky for you. Now you're even afraid of shapes.
I am.
So we have, so basically it's 6 different streams that you can log into and watch. So there's the Hall of Heroes, which is essentially the main line stream that's going to have all the kind of movie and whatever announcements. There's the Watchverse, which is the TV version, I guess. So that's going to be all the TV shows and mostly all the CW series, essentially.
All the melodramas.
Yes, exactly. They have a kids verse, which is going to be a lot of the animated stuff and stuff geared towards kids, I guess. Uverse, I feel like that's where they're going to have like people, like fans and stuff joining and probably cosplay and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well.
And then Funverse and Insideverse, I'm actually not too sure, and I'm also not really bothered going to find out what they are. I think it's a lot
kind of more like workshops and stuff. Yeah, like there's a lot of people who are doing like how I designed this hero and all this sort of stuff, and like how I got into comic books, and here's kind of my start. Like it's really interesting. I think if you're actually interested in like the people who create the comics and come up with the things, and you're interested in getting into that world, like it's like, to be honest with you, this would be one of the areas that I would actually go in and see stuff behind. Like there's one particular panel on Smallville as well, which I actually
the Smallville panel,
so it's kind of like talking about how they done the pilot, how they done the series, and that would be interesting as well, more so than like watching how they done Pennyworth or whatever.
Pennyworth,
not Penny.
I was like, you saying Pennywise? What are you trying to he's not a DC hero.
No, that amazing series that me and you totally watched about
if someone put Pennyworth on in front of me, I would get up and leave the room. That's how much I don't want to watch it.
I know nothing about the series. I'm pretty sure we talked about it twice, but it's been so like, I don't care about it that much that I've just forgotten it and pushing it out of my head. But the main one is basically the Hall of Heroes.
Yeah, essentially. And it's free to watch. So if you're interested in it next Saturday, just all you have to do is log in, set up an account, and you can watch it next week. So the first panel that they have basically in the Hall of Heroes is Wonder Woman 84, which like the movie should already be out. So I can't imagine it's going to be much more they can do here. Like there's no point in them showing us another trailer because we've seen so much already. They're going to have the cast there and they'll probably chit chat about it. They'll probably show what's her name as Tigress. What's her name? Kirsten Wiig.
Not
Kirsten Wiig. They'll probably show an actual. I think we've seen some leaked visuals, but we haven't seen like an official image, or we definitely haven't seen her in the trailer actually as Tigress.
Yeah,
is it Tigress. It is, isn't it?
It is Tigress or Tigress or whatever you call her.
Yeah. So we'll probably. I would assume we'll see something like that. But outside of that, like I really hope they don't show us another trailer. Like I'm not going to watch a trailer if they do because I've seen enough. Like I kind of have a fair idea what the plot is now at this stage.
Do you think they might show us like do a Christopher Nolan thing and show us like the first 10 minutes of the film or a 10-minute kind of piece as well to get people more excited by it? You know,
if they showed us a bit of a making of, almost a bit of like production thing, maybe of them like on set putting it together or something,
that'd be cool.
That'd be kind of cool. You know the way Star Wars always do that before their big movies. They have like a little 5-minute.
Like it totally depends on what the production was like, but I'm sure it was interesting enough to cut something together for like 5 minutes or something like that. Could be interesting. Like I don't want another trailer for this. It's the same way as yourself. I don't want to know more about it because I feel like by the time it comes out and by the time we can see it in Ireland, you know, I'll probably know the whole story at that stage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, not much more to say on the Wonder Woman one. After Wonder Woman, there is a Warner Bros. Montreal Games announcement.
I wonder what this could be.
Question mark. Who knows?
Oh, a Riddler game.
That's what we've all been crying out for, isn't it?
Yeah, just a Riddler game.
Been crying out for it. We just want to do Riddler tasks.
Yeah, it's basically a DLC of Batman Arkham City where you're the Riddler going in and you're just planting trophies.
No, you're not. You're not going in. What you're doing is you're building underground tunnels that Batman has to drive around in Arkham Knight.
I forgot about that.
That's best not even part of the riddle. Game. Remember that?
It's not even a riddle.
That was so bad in that game.
Everything was bad about that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely the Batman game. Yeah, it's the Batman game. I don't have what was the name that was announced with it?
I do not remember.
Something to do with the Court of Owls.
No, they like it's going to be a reimagining of it as well. So I imagine Court of Owls is going to be in it, but I don't think there was ever a title announced that had Court of Owls. But they're probably going to be the main villains.
Yeah, absolutely, I would say. And there seems to be an awful lot of split decision online whether this is a reboot of the Arkhamverse. Not even if it's just a reboot of Batman or if it's just another Arkham game.
I don't think
so. I really hope it's not another Arkham game.
No. I think it's a reboot of the universe to a degree. Like I think you'll have some similarities in parts of it, like, you know, or maybe some references to things that potentially would have happened, but like obviously not like talking about Arkham City or anything along those lines. But if there is any crossovers, I suppose, between both of them, they might bring it in. But no, like it definitely won't be a reboot or it won't be a continuation. It'll be something brand new. Yeah, I think Arkham Origins brand new.
No, Arkham Origins was by Montreal, but it was a prequel game.
Yeah, so it was still Arkham. Yeah, because the Joker comes into it and it's the same Joker. Yeah,
I think so the actual name that was trademarked at that time was Batman Gotham Knights. So we'll see I'm personally hoping that it's just a reboot of Batman game and that it and the Suicide Squad are both in the same universe.
I also kind of want an updated fight mechanic. While as much as I love, you know, the way the last one was bashing, I would love a different take on things. Like not necessarily like your Last of Us type of thing, but I do want your stealth to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
As well. You know, not just, you know, you pop down, some guy sees you, and then you go up to the gargoyle and you float around 3 gargoyles, and then they forget you're there. So like you kind of want it to be a little bit more lasting, and if you have to stealth, it should be hard to do it. Anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's I think there's just if they went back to the same mechanics, even like an updated version of the Arkham mechanics, I feel like we've done that so much. Like we've played 4 games, they've perfected it in one of them, then they went on to ruin it in another one. So just, you know, move on, do something. I'm still excited for Batman game. I just want it to be something new and not just another Arkham game, because that I would not be excited if it was just another Arkham game. I'd clearly play it, but I just wouldn't be as excited for it. Then they have a panel on the Sandman universe, which I'm not too sure what they're going to be announcing. That obviously we know there's the series that's in the works, and there is the Audible story as well. Is it a podcast or is it a book or an Audible?
Sandman.
Yeah,
It is
Audible.
it's
So
an
it's an Audible.
audiobook. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fully voiced audiobook of I think the first volume potentially.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, then there's only a 15-minute panel for this, but they're doing a 15-minute panel on introducing Flash.
Mm.
So it is the Flash movie. We've seen them when they released all their teasers for this, that Ezra Miller was unfortunately involved in the promotion for it. So that means he is unfortunately going to be here. I really hope 15 minutes is just them coming out and like kicking the shit out of him and throwing him
It's
off
just
stage.
it's just a leaked version of him choking that woman on the ground in the store, and it's sped up really fast, and someone CGI'd in the Flash suit on top of it, so it's Flash choking someone really fast in a store. Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
I'm actually very like listen, get it out, just get it done. Like it's been through so many directors, the character is crap. All the scene behind the scene. Just like I don't know, just put it out somewhere, like a bad unfinished versions of it, just to get it done and out of the way and off
yeah.
existence. But this would have been a perfect opportunity. But like this would have been a perfect opportunity to just get rid of Ezra Miller and bring out someone else in there.
Yeah.
They haven't started shooting yet, and
Yeah.
like they're already planning, or they're potentially planning on getting rid of Ben Affleck anyway. So like, why wouldn't they just bring someone else new in? Or like, there's so many creative ways you can do it, and if they don't do it now, they're stuck with him as Flash for at
Yeah.
least another couple more films because they're going to establish it. So it's kind of disappointing, if I'm being honest.
I have a strange feeling that he has dirt on someone in the studio and they just can't sack him. Because if you can publicly
Yeah,
choke a girl out
yeah.
during quarantine at a nightclub when you shouldn't even be in that country, like
That wasn't
there's
during quarantine.
no
That was well before then, surely, wasn't it?
no that was like about 2 weeks into like quarantine.
That's
That was when
mad.
everybody was meant to be in lockdown at home. He was at a nightclub in Iceland
Choking
choking
people.
a woman.
Oh
He
my
was
god.
getting kicked out and then choking a woman out in the street. Like,
Oh,
and he still wasn't fired. Yet the other guy that played whatever his name is in the CW series posted something racist about 10 years ago
oh
and
yeah,
got fired on the spot.
god.
Like, no doubt, no questions, nothing, just gone.
Yeah. I think you're totally right. Like he must have something on someone.
He's got dirt on
Maybe he
someone in the
choked out
studio.
everyone in the studio, but like
Yeah.
for like pleasurable reasons rather than
But
reasons. And he has like footage of it. It's basically on that Lex Luthor hard drive. Do you know, like the first video
yeah, yeah.
saving the store, the second video is him choking out a load of CW or DC executives.
But the thing I do find weird about this is that we've had all these rumors about the Flash movie over the last couple of months on like Michael Keaton being cast to come back as Batman, or is Jeffrey Dean Morgan going to be playing Batman? Is it going to be Flashpoint Batman?
It's gonna be Cyborg team up movie.
Yeah, like we've had so many rumors, and yet this panel about the Flash is only 15 minutes, while every other panel is like half an hour minimum or like an hour.
That's just the case that like they may not still go ahead with the Flash, and they're just kind of having it there for the sake of it, and then they're going to kill it later.
I don't know. It
15
feels like
minutes is so little.
because like if any of those rumors have been true, we'll say if Michael Keaton is coming back, this is when you announce it. Like even if you're not into production, even if you don't know what the story is going to be or whatever, if you know he's coming back, this is where you do it, because this is where it catches headlines and gets the news. This is where people are watching already. So it just seems weird that you'd have 15 minutes. Like what you couldn't even like, can you? Yeah, I mean, I guess you can announce Michael Keaton in 15 minutes, but it just seems like a wasted opportunity not to give it a bit more time.
Yeah.
But maybe they're going to go Marvel style and just be like, hey, here's the Flash, here's the cast, here's the new casting, Michael Keaton, everybody cheer, see you later. Like maybe that's what I don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, could be. Either that or they have it in for 50 minutes, but it's actually going to be like a big announcement and it's kind of, they're trying to keep it under wraps or something.
Yeah, well,
could possibly
it's
be
like
that also.
the title of the film. Like it might be like The Flash, and they'll just put up Flashpoint or something like that, and just leave Flashpoint on the screen for 15 minutes for people to freak out about. And like I know you mentioned Ezra Miller's in the promos, but do you think that's because it was all done pre? And like again, they're smart enough; they wouldn't have put it out otherwise. Yeah, listen, he's coming back, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was trying to get the way out of it as well, but
yeah, no, he's coming
right.
back. Because what they said basically, the panel is going to be like a 101 conversation with two filmmakers, Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti, and then Ezra Miller and the screenwriter Muschietti are going to give fans a speedy rundown of the first ever Flash feature film.
Do you know what they could do? They could like slyly, change the Flash in the making of this film. So like we mentioned it before, like if you do a Dr. Parnassus thing as well, where like he goes back in time and he ages, or he ages down or ages up, or he just turns into a different version of the Flash basically as well. And it's like he's still the same character, but he visually looks different. I'm sure there's a way you could like talk about that in like something to do with time travel or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, either that or they've actually got an hour recorded and they're just going to speed it up into 10 minutes because that's what the Flash is like. Maybe
That'd
that's it.
be
Who knows?
hilarious.
And you have to play it. You have to like slow the whole thing down and watch it for an hour.
Maybe.
Anyway, moving on. The following panel then is the Suicide Squad, which is starting at, I think it's like 12 o'clock their time. I'm not too sure. But yeah, this one is actually, I think, an hour or no, it's 30 minutes. But I think actually James Gunn on his social media already kind of teased a visual of kind of what it looks like. So you're going to have like the main speaker in the middle of the screen, and then all the rest of the people that are on the panel are like around them on different screens as well. It looks pretty cool, to be honest, for what it could be. But basically, it's them coming out as a panel, and similar to what they've done with Guardians in the past and stuff, they're just going to have most of the cast there. They're going to be chit chatting. It's probably going to be funny. They're all going to announce who each one of them are playing, because a lot of them we actually haven't had announcements yet. And I would imagine they're also going to release a trailer.
Totally. Do you reckon as well Big Will is going to get onto the middle panel as well and go, what is this? Some type of Zoomicide Squad?
Well, he's not officially in this, so maybe that's over to Idris Elba is going to have to say that this time.
That's true. Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one purely because I can't wait to see. They're going to have a bit of a laugh together, no doubt, because James Gunn and his cast all have seen. Even just the trailer they've released for this, like, it's just night and day from other DC sets where you're like, these are all having a great time. Like, there's no sad Affleck or anything like that. Like, these are all loving life here.
It's because it's James Gunn and he brings that energy, and I think people believe in him. Like, you know, like to the point where when he left, you know, the cast he had with like Dave Bautista and some of the guys were like willing to stake their careers on bringing him back. So like, he's just a good director and a good visionary to have. And I'm massively excited for this. Like, this is probably one of my most anticipated things from FanDome, is to see a trailer for this.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I can't wait for that. Hopefully it's like an actual like 3-minute trailer and not like a 30-second teaser. They've shot everything, so I'm assuming they're probably gonna have a full length actual trailer. So
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Where have we got the next big movie panel? So there's a panel on Joker, put on a happy face, but it's probably just going to be I can't imagine it's going to be like an actual movie announcement. I'd imagine it's just going to be stuff about like the upcoming comic books and just kind of a legacy of the character of the Joker. They have a panel on Batman. Then I think it's on they have it on the voice actors that have played Batman before, which that could be a bit of fun. But then we have the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So the Snyder Cut it's got a 25-minute panel. So what they've said in this is that it's going to be Zack Snyder with some of the cast. What is it? Blah, blah, blah. So Zack Snyder fields questions from the fans and a few surprise guests as he discusses his eagerly awaited upcoming cut of the 2017 film. It's 25 minutes long, this panel. So, Lorcan, Zack Snyder, he's going to be taking questions. We're definitely getting a trailer. Who's the special guest? The surprise guest?
I wonder who it could be. I think we'll get Batfleck in anyway.
Do you think?
Well. I think we'll get Batfleck in because they're great friends. I was listening to a Kevin Smith podcast recently as well, and they had Ben Affleck on, and he was just so, I don't know, he was so positive about Zack Snyder as well and his vision. And I think Ben Affleck feels kind of hard done by a lot of the backlash from that. So I reckon we'll get Batfleck as a special guest and maybe some more insight into his character potentially, and you know, for your sake, maybe his future about what could happen, maybe as well.
Don't tease me like that, Lorcan.
Maybe that might be too much because it's not necessarily part of the Snyder Cut, but I reckon special guest is Batfleck. I think he's big enough to make noises for it. Like it could be Superman, it could be
Henry Cavill,
and I think that's a more realistic one. Gal Gadot's going to be at her own one anyway. Henry Cavill doesn't really have anything here, but either does Ben Affleck. Maybe it's both of them.
It could. Like I definitely think it's going to be Henry Cavill anyway, because he obviously popped on for the actual announcement of it.
Yeah.
Like when Zack Snyder announced at that time, Henry Cavill popped on the Zoom call as well. Oh. So like we know that they've been kind of keeping in touch with this whole thing, and like we know Henry Cavill is back in the DC universe again. Like they've announced that he's going to be showing up in some of the films. So I would imagine Henry Cavill is just a surprise of DC FanDome in general, that he's going to potentially show up at other panels, which you might talk about. So I would say this could be where he comes out first. Well, like shows up on screen first, whatever. Batfleck, I would absolutely lose my...
I feel like he'll show
proverbial mind if he did show up.
Yeah.
Like even if he shows up here, that's enough for me to get hope again, to have some hope that he's willing to be involved in this again, because like you said, like he definitely got super hard done
Yeah, massive.
by the whole Joss Whedon coming in and redoing that film, because that's not the same Batman that we got in the first
No.
one. So yeah, I would love to see was that is Kevin Smith's one of his recent podcasts.
It was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago at this stage as well.
Oh, I must check that out.
It was Fat Man and Batman as well. It's not necessarily with Ben Affleck as well. He comes on for a small part in the show to talk about it, and it seems like it's almost set up to be like, because like they're reacting to the Snyder Cut. It's one of those reasons. I think it's called the Snyder Cut, so they're reacting to him getting the Snyder Cut and what they think is going to happen. And like listen, it's a great listen regardless anyway. But Ben Affleck is just super positive about Zack Snyder. So I think there might be something here, or that would have been around the time I'd say Snack had to put together what he's doing for his panel. So maybe. The panel is only 15 minutes as well. And if we're going to get a trailer, and
it's 25 minutes.
It's 25 minutes. Yeah. So, well, maybe there's a bit of time, I suppose.
Plenty of time to take the two lads in, have a bit of a chit chat, take some questions, and then show us a trailer and blow everyone's mind and then leave. So yeah, I that's probably one of my most anticipated ones, because I just can't wait to see a trailer for it where you're like, oh, this is what it was meant to be.
I want to see the hole that Zack Snyder digs himself into, and I want to see the saltiness of someone like Joss Whedon afterwards as well, because he's gonna 100% throw digs that direction. And Joss Whedon is not going to take those digs, and he's going to throw it. Like, there'll be a bit of fun kind of back, and well, it won't. It'll probably be a little bit kind of like lowbrow across the board. But like, I kind of like that sort of shit as well, because both of them are, like, listen, I have a soft spot for both of them. Like Snyder as a director, as like a visual kind of master, I think, not necessarily as a good director, really. And then Josh Whedon has been, again, great but flawed in his own way too. So like,
terrible guy.
Awful guy, and
bad dude, but
Snyder's
good director though.
Most part. But anyway, listen.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, Snyder's a cool guy. It's more Whedon's a bad guy, but
or just
you can't argue with his directing. So after the Snyder cut of Justice League, we have the Black Adam panel. We know The Rock is going to be there. He's already been part of the. He's already been part of the marketing.
I won't watch this. I can't listen to that ego for so long.
You can feel the ego coming through the screen.
He's just gonna be full salesman mode, and he'll put on fake corporate fun. Like, I've just got this cynical view now of The Rock, where I just don't think he's real anymore. Like there used to be these feel-good videos of like The Rock showing up to this college football player who like lost his like legs, and The Rock's there giving him an inspirational speech and like a way forward with life. And I was like, that was awesome. Like, it's awesome for The Rock to do that. But like, I think now, just looking back, even in hindsight, a lot of that is just PR that's set up, and I don't think he even cares. And like, maybe I'm just going too.
I think the fact saying that he doesn't care, I don't think is fair.
Well, maybe not fair, but I think he's doing it but
there's a lot of it.
Or there's a part in it.
Anyway, let's start. Every time we get onto The Rock, we end up dissing him. But anyway, he's actually going to be part of this panel. This one's only 15 minutes, and it's just him. It seems like it's just a fan Q&A where he's taking some questions, maybe talking about a little bit about the movie, the story, blah, blah, blah. But potentially, rumor central, could you see a certain Man of Steel showing up in this panel?
For Black Adam,
straight after the Snyder Cut?
I don't think so. Maybe, but maybe like it depends. Like, have we got any sort of synopsis about what direction it's going to go? I think you might see. Well, like, there's a Shazam panel a little bit later. I think you'd probably see like one of those guys jump on here rather than Henry Cavill. I think, because it's not necessarily about like they're on stage or anything along those lines. There's Zoom calls, so it's not as if like just because
that is epic
beforehand. Yeah. So like, I reckon it'll be all The Rock. And to be honest with you, I think The Rock prefers it like that. I think The Rock won't want anyone else to steal his thunder. If anything, it'll be, The Rock crashes the Shazam panel, dressed as Black Adam because he's a villain or some shit like that. That'll be the real thing, rather than someone else crashing this panel.
Yeah. Again, or actually, is this going to be the panel where they announce Ryan Reynolds as a Hawkman? Remember those rumors going around?
That was a while ago. That would be great if that happened.
Yeah, him and Ryan Reynolds are great friends, so you'd never know.
Maybe. Yeah.
But no, I think you're right. I don't think we're going to get out into this bar The Rock talking about how great he is and how great the film is going to be.
We might get some concept art potentially. Like, there's nothing in the works for any of it as well. Like, maybe a name for the film. Like, is there a fleshed out title other than Black Adam?
Well, he's going to be called Black Adam, so I would say that's what he's going to want the movie to be called. So probably Black Adam.
I just wonder if there's going to be a hint to who like he is a villain.
Yeah, maybe a little bit
We'll
about the
have
story or something. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
potentially.
Hopefully, we get some more of that.
Cool.
Then there is a panel that it says to be announced, and there's nothing on it, so I don't know if that's like meant to be a surprise or if it's just like they haven't just put one in there yet. So
Yeah.
potentially a surprise panel. Who knows? They've got an Aquaman panel. It's going to have James Wan there, and it also has Patrick Wilson, who obviously played King Orm in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have Jason Momoa. He's not attending, so unless he's meant to be a special guest or and he just seems like he's not attending for some reason.
Wow, that's very strange.
Yeah, he legitimately could just be busy filming or something, but
yeah,
he also just hasn't been announced to be there. So maybe he's meant to be one of the surprise guests. Who knows?
I feel like that's a missed opportunity because Momoa seems like he's full of like banter, like he'd
be great
up or something along those lines.
Yeah. But yeah, it's only a 10-minute panel, and they're just talking about the world of Atlantis, and some of their favorite behind the scenes moments from the first film. I don't think there's really going to be an announcement on the second film because that's not due out 2022, and like it was November 2022, which is probably potentially going to be. It should still be on schedule by the time they get back into things, but like they've got nothing shot or anything, so I can't imagine that they'll be announcing anything there. They've got a panel afterwards on Ask Harley Quinn, which is based on the animated series, which is just such a class series. But again, it's just 10 minutes, and I think I can't tell if Hayley Cuckoo is going to be there.
That would be cool if she was again, because like again, the titular character of it, you kind of need them to be there for the thing to make sense, really. But yeah, like,
I think it what it could just be, because it's probably going to be pre-recorded, this one, so it could just be like a 10-minute animated segment of like Hayley Cuckoo as Harley Quinn answering questions that have been all pre-recorded or whatever.
That'd actually be fun because again, their take on the DC FanDome, like FanDome as well, in one of the Harley Quinn episodes as well, was pretty hilarious. So like if they do the Ask Harley Quinn questions, but it's the guy on the couch with the, what do you call it, the Snyder cut top on, and the other guy, and they're the one and it's just abuse, that'd actually be fun. And it's not necessarily Ask Harley Quinn, it's just like a skit basically. I think that'd be pretty interesting. I'd be happy.
Kind of cool. Then not straight after that, the following panel we have Shazam. So again, this movie's, I think, was this meant to come out at the end of next year?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was the end of 2021. It's probably going to get pushed as well.
Yeah.
So I think Zach Levi's going to be there, and they're probably going to have a couple of fan questions, talk about the next film. They haven't shot it or anything, so they're like, maybe they're going to have some like concept art, like you said. But
I think The Rock, this is the one he'll crash. I really do see The Rock coming into this in some degree.
Yeah, because actually, it says in this, and it says at the end of this, and even a few surprise guests drop in.
Definitely.
So it could be either The Rock or it could be
the extended cast. Well, no, the extended cast as well. Like, there's the other people in the Shazam family, and I'm like, it depends on how balls to the wall they're going to go with this. Like, they could have people in costume as well, and that could be very interesting. So.
They're all going to be on camera, so I mean, it's not true. If they're in actual costume, though,
yeah.
But I feel like this one we legitimately could get Henry Cavill showing up, because I feel like when we have the whole thing with Cavill coming back was that he isn't getting his own movie, but he's going to show up in other movies. Yeah. So this could be like a prime example for them to be like, hey, this is the movie that Henry Cavill's going to show up as Superman, and he's going to be like a bit of a mentor on the side too, almost like Iron Man to Spider-Man type thing, where he just kind of pops in and out for like a few little scenes here and there in Shazam 2, which would be kind of cool to see. And obviously, like his body double showed up at the end of the first Shazam. So it'd be cool to see that if that did happen. That'd be kind of a cool announcement. And then the two main panels to finish off that day: the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. So that game has a panel. We know that we're getting a trailer. It's a 20-minute panel, so I'd imagine they're going to have a trailer and potentially some gameplay.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm really thinking that this is just going to be announced.
I feel like
announced to be this year.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. I think we'll get it for holiday 2020 as well. I feel like if they're doing a 20-minute one, it seems like we're a good bit into development on it as well. I reckon we'll get it this year, and it'll be current gen. But like they'll do like a whole thing where it'll split across generations, where it'll be available on the PS5 also as well. So I think you're totally right here. I think that's a great call. I think it will be this year.
I can't wait for that.
That would be
awesome. Then the final kind of main panel that we'd be looking forward to is the Batman panel. So they've got a full half-an-hour panel. They have Matt Reeves showing up, and a few other folks coming in to talk about Batman. And it says, with a surprise, in brackets, or two, for the fans. So I'd imagine Robert Pattinson's probably going to show up,
Totally.
and they'll definitely have some form of trailer or teaser, if
Totally.
nothing else, like a 30-second teaser.
Yeah.
They'll definitely they'll show something.
They might even have a concept thing where it'll be like the music and the tone and that type of thing, and black cuts and cuts of like Gotham and stuff like that, and then it might shoot to him and it'll be like Mr. Wayne or whatever like that, and then whatever, something along those lines. Like they'll have something. There's no way that they're going to end the final panel without having like a teaser to something, even if it's not a full trailer. It probably wouldn't be a full trailer. I wouldn't expect a full trailer.
No, I don't think they've even, like, I don't know if they finished shooting, but they definitely haven't got like
they haven't
all the
shot
VFX and
enough
stuff done yet. So they're kind of the main panels that we know of.
There's also one more that I want you to maybe potentially help me with as well. So earlier on in the day, there's a panel for Legacy of the Bat, which is apparently a Nightwing series. So it is.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's called Nightwing Legacy of the Bat. I'm on DC FanDome's website at the moment as well.
Yeah.
But it says it's a film set in the DCEU as well, directed by Chris McKay, and it stars Andrew Garfield as Nightwing, Colin Firth and Emma Stone as Tim Drake / Red Robin, and Barbara Gordon / Oracle, and John Hamm as Harvey Dent / Two-Face.
Where is this?
Yeah, and it says Ben Affleck will also appear as Bruce Wayne. This is part of DCEU's Phase 2. Apparently, it's earlier on in the day at around, depending on which time you're going by as well, the 4:13 p.m.
Which studio are you in, or stream or whatever?
No. It's
Legacy of the Bat. Yeah, I see it.
It's in the Hall of Heroes as well. But like, I don't know what this is. Like, it reads as if it's a live action film, but like with that voice cast, how have we missed all of this? So I feel like it has to be an animated film. Sorry, I was continuing on the present day story as well, and it says as part of the plot as well, they're visiting Tim Drake's parents, who are played by Matthew Perry and Courtney Cox, who are Chandler and Monica in Friends.
What is going on?
But the thing is, reading this, I'd be like, this is bullshit. But it's on the DC FanDome website.
Are you sure you're on the right website?
It says FanDome. It's DC FanDome Wiki. Yeah, like DC FanDome, FanDome.com.
You're on DC FanDome, FanDome.
I potentially am.
You're on the wrong website, man.
That makes total sense.
FanDome is DC FanDome.
This casting is just absolutely
it's definitely fake.
Listen to this as well. So Desmond Murders the Messenger, played by George Clooney.
When you were saying that cast and everything, I was like, what are you talking about?
I was going absolutely mental as well. Like I was like, this cast, even if it's just a voice cast, is absolutely insane.
Oh god, yeah. So you're totally on the wrong website. So everything we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 minutes is almost definitely not a real thing.
Here, like, there's trivia. So it's like when cast as Dick and Barbara, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone said they were working with DC was better than working with Marvel. Garfield said, "Fuck Kevin Feige, DC rules," and high fives to Emma before kissing passionately. They also announced their real life engagement. What the hell is this?
And did that not give it away that it might be bullshit?
I only have to read in the trivia part now. I'm going to send you a link to this afterwards. It is actually hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an alternate reality where this all actually happened.
I'll tell you what, Keith. If this is announced and it's actually everything that the fandom has down here as well, I think that'll blow people away.
It's definitely not. You're on the wrong website.
Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone kiss each other passionately after saying "fuck Kevin Feige" and "fuck Marvel." I think that would blow everyone away. Anyway.
Oh god.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So that's not a thing.
So what do you think will blow people away?
Some kind of an announcement about Henry Cavill as Superman. I don't know what it's going to be, but I feel like there'll be something that he's coming back. Mm-hmm. Either he's going to be announced to be in the Shazam movie or in the Black Adam movie. But I feel like just something will come out about him being back. Best case scenario is that they announce a new Superman movie with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
But I feel he's going to be there. I'd be very surprised if Henry Cavill doesn't show up at least.
Yeah.
And I think if they did announce him in something, that would be like the huge news.
Yeah.
That like Superman is back officially or whatever. But obviously that's like they've so much going on that I don't know if they're gonna just like announce something new at it because they have so much going on. But like at the same time, they have movies announced up until like the end of 2022 with Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
So like they don't necessarily need to be like, hey, here's our slate. Like we already kind of know what it is. More so that I would just like we've mentioned before, them to just be like, here's the roadmap. Like, here's officially
Totally.
what the next 2 years is going to look like. That's what even though we know what it is, but for them to just be like, here's it all, here's how it looks, whatever. Here's like a logo for each of them.
Do you
blah,
think
blah,
they're
blah.
going to announce a Suicide Squad cut as well? Do you think potentially?
Oh, the Ayer cut.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. There's one or two sites that I follow that seem to call a lot of this stuff. I'd say they're about like 70-30 on the side of right, but they've been talking about the Ayer cut a lot. So I'm kind of like,
there still is that to be announced panel for around 15 minutes as well before Aquaman. So that's prime enough position. It's like past the Black Adam one as well. So like there could be big news that's there that they just don't want to say as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you never know what's going to come
or
in
that
there.
could
So
be the Joker film that I told you about, where they have another go at a Joker origin as well. So they do the multiple, like there's definitely a premise that could get away with it, you know, in world, by going like, the Joker's so crazy, he has so many different what do you call it, origin stories. So they start doing loads of different anthology origin stories of the Joker with different big actors. They could totally get away with that.
You're living in a dream world. They're not going to do that. It would be great though.
I hope they don't do it, but like they could get away with that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Lots and lots of stuff coming from DC FanDome next week. So check back in next week when we're talking about everything that we got right and the majority of stuff that we definitely got wrong.
And the FanDome stuff that'll totally happen, or the FanDome stuff that'll totally happen.
Yeah, the stuff that you totally made up and found on the wrong website. That'll definitely be happening.
Totally happen, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, if you're listening to this point, thank you very much for keeping tuned in. We will see you next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give it a rating, all that fun stuff. And I guess that's about it.
Wash your hands, guys.
Wash your hands, clean your face, wear a mask, all that fun stuff.
Don't go to the cinema next week if the cinemas are closed. That's you, Keith. I'm not talking to the audience. If the cinemas are closed, don't go to the cinema.
I can't promise anything.
Okay, bye, Jamie.
See you later, guys.
Run down, run down, run down, run down, run down. Run down, run down, run down, run down, run down. Run down, run down, run down, run down, run down.